for doing this. So she would pay somebody to do this for an hour. Sorry, am I tickling you? You know, so her, and I don't do that for an hour. She comes for other things, so. But I will finish up each area with some of that. And of course, this is the whole hip integrity, blah, blah, blah. She's still got a little bolster here, so I got some support there, which is nice. And I'll just start with doing some heel of hand here. If they're really stretchy yoga people, you can lean and they'll start to feel a really good stretch through their hip area. Okay? And I again, I don't do a lot of work across the table. If she was such a yoga girl, this was up near her shoulder and I was having to do this, I would not be doing it. Okay? You can come over, stay where you are, because I'm not going to stay over here too long, right? If somebody's really out wide, you can come over here and do this. But know when you come really close to the knee, that's where the really tender stuff is. And I'm not yanking my elbow towards me. I literally set it down, and the weight is putting her leg outward more, right? And I can go up to the middle. A lot of times you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to move towards your knee. Okay, now they can relax because they're worried you're going to go the wrong direction. Right? So just communicate. Right? She's like, I wish you would do more work on my adductors. Anywhere you want. Okay? So just, you know, and if you train them that things that are tender and hurt need more work, they're going to be like, wow, that's really tender. Yeah, because if we didn't have our adductors, we would walk like this. Okay? So we use them. If they hurt, we use them. Okay, that one can go back down. All right, so at which point, if they're like, wow, that's really sore, then you say, I know, we use those a lot. I learned this. And, you know, would you be open to a little more work with some oil? And they may say yes, they may say no, right? You don't have to be attached to the answer. Like, the more detached you are, like, I don't really care how you answer, the more likely they're going to be comfortable saying yes.
How are the adductors related exactly to the lower back? Like, how would you explain that?
Right. So we did talk about it, but I will be clearer because obviously I wasn't clear enough. Right. So this is what I showed these guys in the shoulder class. Right. So we are down and forward people, and lots of people sit. Okay. So when my hip flexors, my quads, and my psoas are shortened, what happens to piriformis?
Lengthened.
It's lengthened and gets tighter, and your sciatic nerve runs under or through your piriformis. It's genetic. We won't know unless you've had an MRI and you tell us. Okay? But now what happens if I do this? Tighter in my piriformis?
I think it's being more lengthened.
Yes. More length, more tight. So you don't live like this, but our adductors are tight. Right? So odds are we are pulling ever so slightly the piriformis a little longer.
I think people are sitting with cross legs.
Yeah, cross leg, yeah.
Right. So anything in the front that is tight can pull the pelvis down, can change the angle at the hip joint, affecting piriformis and affecting low back. It's iliacus and psoas that are a lot of the chronic low back stuff because they're pulling the pelvis down and forward. But psoas is also affecting the curve in the low back, right? Adductors is more this piriformis piece, but the piriformis attaches into the sacrum, and that affects the ilium, and that affects the low back.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's all
It's weird
connected.
to see that middle piece. Like, I know you talked about it yesterday,
Yeah.
but I didn't connect the adductors to the
Specifically to the
piriformis.
whole thing. To the, Yep. That's why we talk about it more. Plus, they just got extra information from that I don't usually talk about in this class. Come for hip and shoulder girdles if you enjoyed that discussion. All right, adductors. Oh yeah. Okay. So again, you don't have to work up to groin. If you want to in hip and shoulder class, you can. But right, you can be 2-3 inches easily off of any kind of groin stuff, right? If you're going to pull towards you, don't pull towards you. Use your whole body, right? I can also, I know lots of you aren't supposed to sit on the table, or at least you're supposed to keep a foot on the ground. My feet are on the ground, both of them actually. right? So you can cross fiber like this, being careful because by the knee it's really tender. And again, I'm not scooping towards me, I'm just laying it down and leaning, and that's flattening out her leg a bit because my weight is off to the side. Right, you doing okay? Right. And if you truly work where the sheet is, then she's gonna know you're not rolling any closer with this. However, I am the most loosey-goosey sheet person, and I like people to feel warm and covered. So there are times when I'll work under the sheet. Am I under the sheet? Am I under the sheet? Am I under the sheet? If you are not pulling on the sheet, the half time they're not going to know. Okay? You, unfortunately, have other standards. All right. So yeah, you know, fists here can be good. Just the flat of the fist and lean in. Notice how my wrists are straight. Right? If I'm leaning in, but there's not a lot of pressure happening in this work. If she can really roll out and I can get straight over top of it, you can get a lot of really deep work done. But if you want to get really deep work and somebody can't roll out, you do it from the other side of the table. You have them shift their hips closer if you're short like me, and then you come in from the other side so that you're leaning into it. Right? But
how do you kind of brace the other? I mean, I didn't have the bolster.
You can use a bolster, you can use a towel. Yeah, and when they're bent like this, they're not going to go very far. Again, unless they're the yoga people. And at that point, you can bring them up and lay them flat, and you're good. Yeah. All right. So IT band's on here again. If we have time and you want to just practice it again, you can. But, you know, you can do IT band in face down or face up with the horizontal work. And the perpendicular work, if I want to make sure I've gone 4 directions, then I'm going to do the up part here. I know I've done superior, inferior, inferior, superior, and I've done anterior to posterior cross fiber. So now I'm doing posterior to anterior cross fiber. Right? This is all just getting into position, straight up and down towards the ceiling, leaning into pressure and standing up about 2 inches. I'm focused on the IT band. I don't care about quads right now, right? All right. Quads. Okay, quads looks like hamstrings. So this is our official first rinse and repeat. Not that I haven't used the same tools more than once. Right, but here I'm going to cross fiber on TFL. If I get down low enough, when I get my elbow to midline, I'm going to bring my hand into my belly, shift my feet because I'm going in another direction. Cross fiber right above the knee on these tendons feels yummy. Yummy. Super yummy. Super yummy. I'll pay you later. Right, so you should be all flowy. So there are 4 quads. I think, didn't they find a 5th quad recently? Yeah, there's something. You know, there's weird things. There's like the pirimis muscle down in the pelvis that some of us have and some of us don't. And there's like a piece of psoas minor that some of us have and some of us don't. But anyway, we know there's 4 quads, but it's kind of like hamstrings because the little tiny one is underneath the middle one. So, right? So I'm going to do the same things I did before on my hamstrings. Only with quads, most of the time I find people load here in this upper area of the lateral quad. So then I might just hang out and do my more specific stuff here where I feel that load point. Right? And honestly, I do a lot of with fiber here. But I also find with quads that some cross fiber up and down, and maybe in shorter pieces, but kind of diagonal strokes seem to free things up in this lateral quad area. Vastus medialis, I'm just going to roll her out a little and then I can kind of get right on top of it. I am at a little bit of an angle. Again, I'm not pulling. I'm just, when I lean down, that's where I land and that's how her leg lands. You okay? So you can do cross fiber on any and all of this, all right? So here I've got my, I can tell her, push that out a little bit, thank you. Right? But if I do cross fiber here, see how far I can go if I just angle just a little bit versus this, right? So just angle a little bit for your cross fiber. And here. I can do more horizontal if I want to. Ooh, they got some stuff in there. Stuff right there, the stuff. All right, peroneals and tibialis. So this is another one of my favorite parts because you all are blowing your thumbs out. So Jack, my client Jack knows I talk about him. It's all good. It's not a HIPAA violation. Jack came to me and said, I have one of those winch things in my shop, clamp, right, where you put the board in and then you screw the thing in and it stays stable. And he's like, and I take that and I put a golf ball right here.
Oh my God.
And I winch it in because the pressure that I feel along here is just so good.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, don't ever do that again. And then I started blowing my thumbs out on Jack's tibialis anterior, right? And then I decided that's stupid. I need to figure this out. So, flat fist. Now you've got tibia and fibula here that you've kind of got to watch bone on. So it's not a total flat fist usually with me. It's like these two and these other two are a little tucked up out of the way. Okay? That's firm, headed towards deep, and I haven't warmed this area up. Really. How you doing?
Fine.
Feel good?
Mhm.
Want more?
Maybe a little bit.
She's not getting any more in this position right now. Okay, you see how slow I'm moving? I know how deep I am, right? I haven't moved this slow the whole routine. Okay, but when she wants more, what am I going to do? What are my options? Lean more, yep, which I'm telling you I'm not going to do because I feel like I'm leaning and I'm stabilizing this wrist.
Oh, on your.
Specific and hold your thought.
So, smaller surface area. So I'm not going to go on my elbow because it's really ropey in there. I'm going to go a little bit onto my blade of maybe 3/4 of an inch of my blade. And I'm on a really ropey part of your tibialis. How you feeling about that?
Feels good.
More?
No.
Okay. And I don't have to stabilize any small joint, right? I call it surfing. So once you get used to this is a pretty broad band, but sometimes in the back it's like half the width of my finger, spaghetti piece, you know? But once you start to really be able to feel with your forearms and your elbows, you can surf these lines. So I'm moving slower than I was before because I know I'm on her edge. I wasn't on her edge before. And still I was moving pretty slow. But I was at the point where stabilizing my wrist, that's where I felt comfortable and much more I wasn't going to. So I'll finish that stroke and then I'll come back in. And like Christine said, I'll either sit like with a really sharp point or I'll go to a little broader point and I'll surf slow. Still good?
Mhm.
Yeah, she takes some wicked good pressure. Anybody who needs to beat up on somebody and feel comfortable with that. Although not this one, because you've already got a buddy. Alright. Yeah. So I will run right down between tibialis, a tibia and tibialis anterior, right in the groove here. This is where people get shin splints. The muscles and the tendons are so tight that they put micro tears in the bone, in the periosteum of the bone. So my fingers, this is what I call L brace. You'll see it on the back work as well. That just means that I'm basically tucking my elbow into the crook of the L. And this pointer finger in this case is on the bone. So that should I slip, it kind of catches me, because if you get in really deep and hard and then you slip over somebody's shin, they are not going to be happy with you, right? So until you get more, I mean, some people have a deeper groove too, right? She does not have the deepest groove, right? I don't do this with everybody, but her groove is small enough that I don't want to slip up. That's me, please ignore it. All right, cross fiber. Here, same as the other, you still got fibula. I'm not going to drop in and poke anywhere, but this feels really good.
So did the shin splinty one.
Yeah, the groove.
The groove.
Hang out in the groove. So I was here with this, but you can hip brace with this too. Some people have a real trouble with hip brace, so I'm always giving you options, right? But just being stacked, right? I mean, this is going to be, you can do this, right? And get up on one foot and like really let them hold you up because that's what that would look like. She was, she's holding me up a lot. I do things like this. I'm like, okay, how's that?
Probably chocolate.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Questions, concerns.
Oh, you said earlier that you would show when she would be supine her calf part.
No, I said if I was going to do calf work deep, I would do it while she was supine. I'm not going to cover that right now. There's a lot that goes on in here. That could be another class. But I'm just saying I can get, if I